a state of emergency in Rivers State. And Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu cited disturbing incidents of vandalization of pipelines by some militants without the governor taking any action to curtail them. The governor, what action is he supposed to take to curtail them? The commander-in-chief, whoever sits as and acts as the commander-in-chief, is the one that is supposed to ensure that lives and properties are protected. And if we said the issue of vandalization is a reason why there will be a state of emergency imposed on a state in Nigeria, then the question I will ask also, is there any state in Nigeria that wouldn't have a state of emergency? If this is what now leads to a state of emergency. But we have lawyers that are going to look at the Section 305 and go on that particular one. But beyond that is the strange occurrence in a democracy where a duly elected governor is dismissed, stripped of his powers, given to him by the people of his state. And you have a sole administrator being imposed on the state. In a democracy, remember, the democracy that a lot of people fought for and some died for us to have. That is not a democracy. And then the next line where people, Nigerians and citizens, were hopeful that, this rascality, this constitutional rascality that has happened, that it was going to be checked. It's where we have the legislative arm of government. The National Assembly was supposed to be that other resort of the citizens. They're supposed to be the protectors of our democracy. But unfortunately, March 20, 2025, it didn't prove to be so. The National Assembly, that is supposed to be the mouthpiece and the voices of the people, decided that it was not going to be that. The Senate, 109 members of them, or should we say 108, since they decided that they were going to suspend someone whom they did not elect. And House of Representatives, 360 members, convened. But the question is, did they actually convene? Was there a head count? Do we know whether the numbers that were said to be were actually the numbers that were said to be there? Because we needed a two-thirds for this to even be approved. Even what the Constitution had agreed, talk less of the part that is unconstitutional. And then they declared this, they approved the emergency declaration. But instead of going through the process, because processes are very important, we must understand that. Processes are very important that every time the process has to be followed, the rule of law has to be followed. The two-thirds, we needed to have head count. The people, the senators, the lawmakers who are supporting this ought to append their signature. What are they afraid of? Why are we having a vote voice in something that is as important as this? First of all, we have the House of Representatives using a voice vote, bypassing the constitutionally mandated recorded counts to verify the two-thirds threshold. And then, of course, you've had the Senate doing the same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow citizens, we must understand that under a democracy, the Constitution is sacrosanct, and the Constitution must be followed the way it is. Thank you. Just to also add for the gentleman who asked the question, there's something called Stockholm Syndrome. We've seen situations whereby people are kidnapped and they come out to actually support their kidnappers. It doesn't mean that that makes kidnapping right. And so what we're talking about here is about the Constitution. It's not about our life or dislike or any individual. This is the nation, and every country is guided by its constitution. If we begin to allow the constitution to be misused and not to be followed, then we are opening room for anarchy to happen. Having said that, also is to also say to the gentleman that asked the question, when Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu was calling for a mediation, he didn't ask whether there was a judgment out there. He called two people, right, which was Governor Fubara and also his minister, Yesufu Wike. to the conversation. And so if there's anything that there was no resolution, you can't just punish one person. And this is someone that he has the constitutional right for the office that he's currently, occupying, even if to me, he's not actually supposed to occupy the office. That's a story for another day, to be able to sack the minister of FCT or any minister that he appointed without asking anybody. And then you go ahead to do what you do not have the constitutional right to do. That is a major problem, and that's what we're talking about. Thank you.